Welcome to another Coach's Interview here on KLBY at OpenSpacesSports.com. Brought to you by Farm Credit of Western Kansas. Chris Gardner joins us, the head coach of the Colby Eagles. And, Coach, what do you expect this year?
Well, we got a lot of new kids out. We've got a big freshman class coming in. The sophomore class for freshmen was big, and those numbers stayed the same. And so, we've got some guys that are going to be young. Of course, we've got seniors and juniors ready to roll. So expect a lot of things this year.
All right, you can hear more with Coach Gardner when you go to OpenSpacesSports.com. Coach, what about this season? Now, you talked about young kids coming in and more numbers and et cetera, but let's go back to last year a little bit. And you lost some pretty good kids, but at the quarterback spot, you're going to have to kind of regroup there a little bit. Are those the leaders on the team?
Well, we lost some talented kids last year. We lost a lot of them. We had a big senior class last year. When you got to replace a quarterback, you got to replace a running back, you got to replace 4 or 5 up front. There's a lot of holes to fill. But we've had some kids that maybe were waiting in the wings at some of those positions. And so I think the rollover will be pretty good. Your quarterback's definitely your leader. And so we have two kids that are really fighting for that and have done a good job all summer fighting for it. And so I think however it pans out is going to be good.
Some of the discussion has gone around this summer a little bit, and I've talked to you a little bit about maybe changing the offense a little bit and doing some different things that we've done in the past. When you take a look at making changes, and when you decide to make changes, from where you've been before and where you're going to go, how do you do that? Do you use your coaching staff to analyze all that or not?
Oh yeah, we look at the personnel. And our personnel fits a little bit different style, and we've probably started to kind of look at our personnel a couple years in advance and kind of where we're going. And so this year is going to be that offensive. We're going to incorporate a lot more stuff that fits our personnel. We don't have the bigger guys right now. We've got the smaller guys, and so we're going to try and use that offense to help the smaller guys be able to maximize their talents and things like that. And Coach Sims and I, especially with Coach Sims being the offensive coordinator, we've been sitting down probably since wrestling got done late February, so we've been sitting mapping that out probably since mid-March until, a couple weeks ago. So
offensive and defensive lines, I think, are huge, and I think at the end of the day, I think you always go back to it's blocking and tackling.
Sure.
And so you got to replace some people on the line. What's your line look like, in your opinion, coming in?
Well, it'll be new. I mean, that's just it. We only have one guy coming back that started last year for us on the offensive and defensive line. We got 2 guys. That person, another one that played a little bit sparingly in and out to give guys breathers. And so, but what we have is we have a freshman line, or they were freshmen last year, that played together the whole year and are getting bigger. They're probably not as big as we would like, and so they, part of that being big is also being cohesive up front. And those 5 are pretty cohesive, and so we've got some guys that understand what we want to get done. We just want to make sure. We just hope that the summer was good enough for them to help bulk them up. Because you're right, it does start with the offensive and defensive line.
Now, when it comes to leadership, and I don't want to necessarily single out any one particular person, because it does take a team effort to make a successful football team, any athletic event. I understand that. But Andrew Taylor comes to mind. Is he your leader on this team, or is he one of many? He's
probably one of many, but I'll tell you what, of the leaders, he's probably the one everyone looks at. I mean, you're looking at a kid that's been in this weight room for 4 years, been started for 3 years. If he starts this year, it'll be his 3rd year starting. He had a good winter season with wrestling. He had a good track season qualifying for state. And so he's one of those guys I think everyone looks at. Even as coaches, we say, we use him as, hey, if you do this, good things can happen to you and things like that. So he's probably one of many leaders that we'll have out there, but he's one that everyone will probably put their eyes on right away.
I don't think there's any doubt that the GWAC is one of the toughest football conferences in the state in the classifications that we're talking about, 3 and 4A. With Scott City, the defending 3A champions, and Holcomb went to the playoffs. And, in fact, every team you played last year, but Goodland and you, went to the playoffs. What do you sense this league is like this year?
Well, it's going to be about the same. I mean, Scott City, returning champ, and they've got guys coming back. Ulysses has got guys coming back. The league's going to stay relatively tough, but I think we're tougher. You look at our year from 2 years ago to last year, we made some major improvements, maybe not in the win column, but in the scores and the competitive and things like that, and we'll keep building on that. But, yeah, this is a very tough, heavy football conference league that we're in, and so that's good for us because we want to be a part of that, and it's competition, and that's where we want to be able where we can fit into that and be one of those teams that people say, oh, a year in and a year out in this tough football league. Colby's one of them that gets after it.
And we all know that the district is really where the season is. The first 6 games lead up to it. Don't you feel really pretty good about the district? I looked at it a little bit. My sense would be we got 4 teams. Any 4 could go to the playoffs.
Right. It's a wide open district. You know, Concordia lost some people. Clay Center lost a lot of people. Goodland's got a good group coming back, and I think we've got a really good group coming back. And so, yeah, it's pretty wide open. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that district come out west.
All right. Listen. Good luck to you. I'll be following you throughout the season on Open Spaces Sports, of course, on radio and cable as well, but thanks for visiting with me.
Hey, thank you. For now, it can start. Now football season starts. Once I talk with Rich Epp, we're ready to roll.
All right, folks, thanks for watching right here on OpenSpacesSports.com, the Farm Credit preseason coaches preseason show, brought to you also by the many businesses throughout the Colby community. Rich Epp reporting from Colby High School for Open Spaces Sports.